It is the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, 42nd millennium. Our party, our acolytes, find themselves striding the streets of Cata 2, Cata 2's Manufactorum B Secundus, seeking a man who they will arrest for the crime of working with Xenos. There is much more truth to be redeemed amongst them, but just as they are able to confront this figure, as they step towards the imposing, centralized figure of Hive Governor Orme Odin, they find themselves distracted. Well, distracted is the wrong word. They find themselves drawn to a gunshot as the person they were going to arrest has their head go up in a pink, fine mist. Good morning, afternoon, and or evening, depending upon time zone, ladies, gents, and all those in between and beyond that binary of the internet. Welcome back to Neon Lights Roleplay, and more importantly, welcome back to By a Shadow of Peace, our Wrath and Glory epic. I'm your host for the duration of stream, Young Foxy, and I have around me 4 dedicated souls, 4 inquisitive individuals, 4 acolytes of his most holy Ordos, here to bring justice and damnation to the unworthy. But before they do that, it's probably tell you who they are. So, friends, in the order that I call you out, please tell me who you are, who you're playing this evening, where you can be found on the internet, and what's on your brain, I guess. We'll start off from where I can see, at least on my Discord screen here, directly across from me, to an old timely friend of mine, someone who, again, I am constantly lauding the RP of, despite the fact that he doesn't seem to recognize his own skill in RP. So please join me in giving some love and attention to our dear and loving Lan the Dan.
Hey, that was me. Hello, I am Lam the Dan. Tonight, I am playing Barris Corbin, the local desperado, hired gun, eyes on the ground, local intel for Taskforce Brimrose. And what is going on what is on my mind right now is, God, I am so tired. Work took a lot out of me today, and I am not in a mystery solving state. I don't know if
You'll
I
be
am.
fine. Well, that's fair. I hope to make the mystery at least relatively simple to walk your way into if you try hard enough. Before I do that, though, I'll move on to another member of our cast, another vaunted and valued friend of mine, someone who I've known across the past decade or so, who's helped shape me into the person that I am, and whose talents I am oh so proud to be able to bring to you all right in front of your eyes and faces. If you have been anywhere on Neon's Roleplay, you know this incredible story by now. But if you don't already, then it brings me great pleasure to introduce or reintroduce you to the incredible talented Michelle.
Hello, it's me, Michelle, and I don't exist on the internet, so don't go looking for me there. Except maybe this Discord, and the community Discord, so you can find me there, on our community Discord. But today I'll be playing Aria Yun Contour, our Sister of Battle, or Sister Hospitale. She's a medic, but she can also swing a giant naginata at your face if you, denounce the Emperor, or if you're Xenos, or on any of the
Sister
above.
Medicae, otherwise known as the Harm Assist.
It works, right?
It does great. I mean, hasn't failed so far.
Right now, beyond, alright, what the heck are we gonna do now? What?
That's fair. That's a reasonable
Oh,
reaction.
you men are characters, man.
Either way, it's fine.
I'm
Doesn't matter.
also character.
Well, while Michelle has character bleed right now, we'll move on to another person and introduce someone who I have gotten to meet through this lovely world of tabletop RPGs, who I've found that I have incredible synergy with. Is that because I've RP'd falling in love with them 4 or 5 times? Maybe, possibly. Who knows? I'll tell you that when the 5th time happens. But before that, I would love to introduce you all to the incredible and incomparable Meg Mysteria.
Hello, everybody. I am Meg and/or Meg Mysteria, and I'm bringing back Laura Talon. That may or may not be her real name. As we may explore tonight, we will learn. But as far as what is going on in my head, I'm just trying to figure out how the hell we're gonna get out of this situation where we're surrounded by a crowd and there's a dead body in front of us.
You are definitely in a bit of a predicament. That's certainly true. I would say that you currently find yourselves in a situation. I would define it that way, certainly.
It's
That's
certainly
valid.
a situation.
Yeah. Well, You'll work
Like,
on getting your way out of
from the
that.
Jersey Shore?
No, not that one. But while I cringe inside of my skin, we'll slide it down to our last member of our lovely cast. Someone else who I've gotten to meet through this incomparable world of tabletop RPGs, who I've gotten to meet in person now at least once, and who I've found is, honestly, we kind of fit in like brothers. There's no way that I can be around this person and not have a good fucking time. And I found that just one of the most refreshing things in my life. So I thank this person for being the person that he is in my life. And if you don't know who he is by now, then I'm happy to introduce or reintroduce you to the incredible and incomparable Turk Accented.
Hello everybody, I am Turk, or Turk Accented. If you are alone on a stormy night and only hanging out with one other friend who happens to know RP 40k stuff at all, that is the only circumstance in which you are allowed to call me that. Turk Accented is totally fine. Turk Accented is for that one particular circumstance only, for now. Anyway, I will be playing Zadkiel Delos, your Lamenter Space Marine, Adeptus Astartes, Zaddy, as some would call him in chat, who need to be put into horny jail. As for what is on Zadkiel's mind, depending on how bad how poor his positioning was, potentially Ormeutin, or at least bits of him. But it's a few layers above. Anyway, I think the immediate thing is assessing the threat and locking down the area, and also kind of just like that urgency is very good at pushing down all the other thoughts that would be at the surface right now, related to things that have occurred in the last episode that made the ride over a little awkward for him.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Don't you worry about it. But before we do that, friends, I'm Foxy. I play everyone that's not these lovely individuals in front of your faces, which can be difficult to do given how hard they bring it sometimes. But I certainly like to try my best, and I'm going to let them shine their brightest as we slip right back into scene, as it were. Friends, where we last left off, a raucous gunshot erupted across the otherwise relatively organized crowd. The politician in front of you, Hive Governor Ormeutin, Firebrand, the populist, the people's man, has his head go up in a fine red and pink mist. He dropped to the ground dead, and the crowd whips itself into a raucous panic. Which now leads me to wonder, friends, well, what the hell are you doing?
First thought, is there a shooter that is easily visible?
First glance around? No. Everyone around you is just panicking.
Barris is, or first thought for me is, what direction did the shot come from? And is there a way to figure that out?
Barris, could you give me either some kind of intelligence-based check? I would even allow, in this instance, a ballistic skill roll, but add your intelligence bonus rather than your agility bonus for your ballistic skill. If you're gonna roll a ballistic skill.
I could do awareness, or I could do investigation, or I could do.
I'll allow either of those.
Right.
What you got?
I got. Oh man. I got one. I got 3 icons. One critical and one on the last side.
So, with 3 icons. No, that's not a lot. But I will say, with 3 icons, you are not immediately finding yourself drawn to any sort of oh, the shot definitely came from here or there or anything like that. It definitely wasn't a building directly in your line of visibility. There's no open window around you. You can immediately say it came from right there, which definitely makes you know for a fact this wasn't a close range shot. If someone in this crowd took this shot, they are really, really good at blending in. So it's either that or the shot came from somewhere that wasn't directly in the crowd. That's your first inclination you can get while not being in front of the body and with the crowd still whipping around you.
Okay. Anyone else want to say what
Well,
they're doing?
I think Aria's first instinct, from healer training is just medical training is just all right. Who's in the area? Who's got hit with shrapnel? And who because Orme's definitely definitely dead. But did it hit? And did the bullet hit anyone else?
Are you going for? Okay, so if you're looking for around, then let me get an awareness check, and/or I'd even allow a Medicaid check from you. Although I'd say a Medicaid will be harder than awareness if you're going for that.
Okay. Can I do like an awareness check and then followed by a Medicaid check?
Absolutely, I'll allow both.
Okay. Because my awareness is not that great, but we're gonna go for it.
What you
We got the looks like only one icon.
There we go. Sorry, I found good crowd sound. I thought I had some saved already, but I didn't.
Only one
There we
icon on the awareness.
Only one icon on the awareness. In that case, you don't see anyone urgently looking at you who looks like visibly like no one else has gone down. There's no one else who looks like they're on the ground right now.
All right. Can I follow it up with a Medicaid check, anyways?
Go for it.
All right. That is that's 3 plus 2 more because I rolled 2 criticals. I guess that's 5 icons.
In that case, I'd like to know, Aria, before I tell you the results, and I want to check what other people are doing here. Aria, what exactly is your approach here? Are you going towards the body? Are you just looking around for the people? Are you just looking around at people? Are you remaining still? Are you like establishing your presence here? What's your angle of approach here? What are you how are you tackling this?
I think Arya's very visibly, she's visibly in sister robes right now. So I think she's starting to direct people, telling them to, hey, stop, don't panic, move in an orderly line, right? She's directing people because I'm assuming as people are like panicking, they're like starting to shove each other, crushing bodies, right? And she's just moving through, trying to moving forward towards Orme's body, but also like just trying to calm people down, trying to triage the scene, basically.
Okay. So, as we see Arya kind of begin to immediately establish herself, throwing her arms out to the side and kind of trying to establish calm and move towards the body to see what she can figure out. Other than that, from our two we haven't heard from, that's our Space Marine and our Psyker. What are your immediate approaches right now as the scene plays out?
So, in full movement and anticipating what we need to do, Lara is asking the question of Varus and Arya. Are we securing the area or are we taking the body? Did that come through?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I heard you.
I heard you. I'm just not sure the other two did.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
in the
mean-
Skype call.
Yeah, you're not in the Skype call, which makes things infinitely harder, you know?
I'm in the Skype call, but I'm God, so I'm like always in the Skype call.
Arya is
Yeah,
currently
super
moving
privileges.
away towards the body, I guess. So she's not. Barus, Barus, it's up to you. What's the call here?
Whoever shot Orme could still have their sights on us. I vote we get out. I vote we get out of here. We take the body and we book it.
You communicating this aloud or in the Skype call?
In the Skype call.
Would you like to say something aloud to let Zadkiel know what we're doing?
Zad,
Yes.
we're going. Take the body.
We're not scavengers, Commander. We need to secure this location.
We have whoever just took his head off could still have eyes on us and another round ready to go.
He's going to sigh, and then just my move is going to be going up and getting the body off the podium, and like kind of just sequestering myself down as low as I can off of the stand he was on.
Mm-hmm. You are noticing, Zad, that while there's still an insane degree of panic all around, obviously, the people closest to you who have to physically move to not be literally stepped on by your impressive, fully armored bulk, a lot of them are looking up at you. Some in abject fear, some in genuine confusion, plenty in absolute amazement.
I imagine he's kind of getting the body and cradling it in a bridal carry. And then, getting ready to move from a more covered position back to the rest of the group.
You, as you kind of move from that more covered angle, as you kind of slowly slide yourself backwards some, you are able to get up there and get the body, no question, because there's no one stopping you. There's no one right next to the body. It's not until you get to the group, until you kind of like you have the body, you're bridal carrying the body, and you're looking. And I'll give you this just as you're looking, Zad. The head is mostly gone. There is very little flesh of the head left over. Maybe a flap around the neck and a stump. The head is gone. Whatever round did this took the head completely off. Secondly, as a follow-on from that, you are able to get back to the group, so you all see Zad return, cradling the body, meaning you all can similarly see that, again, this body is missing a head. It's gone. The interesting thing that happens, as I'm assuming, are you all going to leave from here? Just step away, go somewhere else?
I would like to first.
I'm sorry, one more time?
I would like to do a thing first.
Well, do that thing then.
So I would like to cast psychometry, whatever it
Psychometry,
is.
something like that. One of those two.
Yeah, psychometry. Already rolled psychic mastery, and it ended up being 8 icons, with a 6 on the wrath die.
Ooh.
I'm gonna roll horribly for the rest of this.
Probably, but that's okay. So, is there anything in particular you're looking for as you begin to sort of psychometrically scan around the area? Any particular feeling or piece of information you're trying to latch onto? Anything, or just you're looking for like general what the fuck's going on here kind of thing? What's your setup here? What's your plan? What's your approach?
I'm looking for what was happening prior, like right before we showed up, what was going on, and if I can possibly try to get a glance of maybe where this shot came from in reviewing that embedded memory in this location.
In that case, I need 2 rolls from you. One can be either awareness or some kind of awareness, investigation, something along that sort of just get a sense of what you're looking for. Don't worry, you will get info regardless because you passed the test already. And the second thing you're looking for is, I'm going to say, again, some kind of... No, actually, just that one test would be fine.
For an awareness, it's 4 icons, but a 1 on the wrath die.
Interesting. As you peer around, begin to rapidly shift, like almost like filing through a cabinet of memory and information from this crowd, it's difficult to do, 1, from the sheer mass of panicked humanity around you, and 2, well, because of the scale of that massive humanity around you. There's so many minds around here with so many frantic thoughts. Piercing coherent information out of them is difficult. In fact, you're even noticing as you're moving through all these minds, because this comes directly from the way that they saw things and their own perspective, their own memory, some of the information is a little bit muddled. Details don't perfectly line up just about everywhere, but the general vibe you'll get is the following. 1, this was not meant to be some sort of like planned massive event. From one person, you can see that like Oten just apparently left the office to go on a walk to go somewhere, and as he started walking, people started gathering around him, and he kind of made it an event, you know? Second, he was doing his usual, usual firebranding, giving out handshakes, kissing babies, talking about proletarian reformation and things like that. All the good stuff we expect from a radical firebrand politician in the Imperium, who probably is going to die sometime soon, as in just did.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing you'll notice, similar to what Barris said, this round you go through maybe 17 different accounts of the shot. So you ever see that movie? What's it called? I think it's called like 7 Points, something like that, where it's like they do like it's like a terrorist attack, and like they like show the attack from like 7 different points of view to like slowly build just the truth of what happened. Great movie, go watch it. Any case, you watch the angle of that shot maybe 17 different times across 17 different people, and the one consistency you get is yet again, like Boris said, the shot didn't come from in the crowd. In fact, it didn't come from anywhere right in your vicinity. No one saw a muzzle flash or anything go off, which, I mean, depending on the weapon used, doesn't necessarily mean anything. But you didn't see a visible muzzle flash or anything from this direct area. Maybe with some more time to investigate the body and see if you can really piece together, maybe even like go over the scene. Maybe, just maybe, you can really get a handle on what happened here. But if you wanted to use memory to get a handle on what happened here, you'd want to go over someone who has like near eidetic memory, someone with a damn near perfect memory. If you can get into their head and figure out, you could probably piece it together with no problem.
And it's a matter of finding that person, but we're already on the move now, so.
That's true. Would it be a shame if you happen to know someone around you who happen to have eidetic memory? We'll deal with that in a minute. Don't worry about it.
Can I, like,
My
change
ears
my
are
mind?
so hot right now. I don't know what's going on.
Any case, that drama aside, party. That's the information you've gained. Are we now booking it? How are we booking it? Where are we booking it to? What's the plan?
Brave, fearless commander.
Why me?
Well, because you're in charge.
Meanwhile, I think Aria is still trying to direct people to not panic and move orderly away from the crowd, so you're gonna have to figure that one out.
Aria, I'm going to ask of you, while Barris is figuring out that plan, I'm still going to give you a result for your Medicaid roll in a moment. Don't get me wrong. I haven't forgotten that. Trust me. But I'd like it if you could roll me perhaps some kind of, I would say either like persuasion or intimidation if you're going to like, like push people that way. Like, let's do it, so either one of those two if you could, please. I also would accept leadership here if you'd like.
It's like, what is more interesting?
You figure that out. You roll it. You let me know. Bars. Plan.
I'm feeling like I should have picked secure the area.
Well, you got the body now, so.
You have the body.
We need to get. We need to get back to the transport.
And where from there?
Somewhere discreet.
You would have us steal the body of an Imperial Administrator.
Well, you need it, don't you?
I need for nothing. We saw what happened. We know his crime.
But do we know all of his conspirators? Clearly not. If someone just shot him in the head, unless you think it's unrelated.
Perhaps something we have done to the car, but to the vehicle. But I must voice my concerns. It seems we'll be at odds with the Arbiters once again.
Your concerns are heard. Though personally, this is nothing new.
And speaking of that, question. Are y'all trying to get away stealthily?
This is the question.
Because for reasons
like
that might
it's-
be difficult.
Is it the giant metahuman or the fact that I have a blood spout in my hands that I'm walking around like a Dead by Daylight survivor with.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Yeah, I think it might be better if we just do things quickly.
Fair enough.
Be quick.
Group call, just breaking into a run behind the giant space marine. Again, the crowd parts behind Zad without too much trouble. Like maybe one person gets in the way and has like a broken rib cage as they get mashed to the side by the giant 9 foot tall demigod in tank armor. But outside of that, you're able to quickly begin bashing your way out of the crowd. As you are sort of bashing your way through the crowd, that you'll notice there's about 4 or 5 people who are making their way through the crowd opposite you, towards you almost, in the same direction as you. And of those 5 people who are doing so, 4 of them have auto shotguns. As well, I mean, you kind of called this one yourselves, friends. 4 Arbites enforcers point their weapons in front of you, aiming directly at you, along with an individual directly in front of them. This person is dressed in typical Arbites armor, plated in that soft blue. However, they also appear to have several gold filigrees and decorations along their uniform, namely an Aquila wing pattern on their right. And while they don't have an auto shotgun raised, underneath their purple coat, you can see a bolt pistol slung, and in their hand you can see a already activating shock maul. As a captain clearly looks at you all and says, "You'll go no further."
Are we going further?
Hang on, I'm checking my inventory.
For what?
Also, Foxy, just so you know, I rolled 2 on the leadership out of 4, so that's not the worst. But I also rolled a 1 on the wrath die. I keep rolling 1s on wrath dies. Why does it hate me?
Yeah, sure not a huge fan of you guys.
Alright.
You thought you were going to get rid of all of our wrath points.
That's true. I didn't count for you guys getting more.
Maybe I should
Okay,
stop
we
rolling.
are not going further. Barris turns to the captain, pulls. I really don't want to get into a firefight right now. So he pulls out the inquisitorial seal and says, "Inquisition Taskforce Brimrose, hold your fire."
The moment you reach for like your pocket, all the guns come onto you. But no, but thankfully, as you get the badge up, you show the rosette, with that sort of gleaming eye and the skull in the middle, the 3 blood pendants are on the side. Declare yourself as a Taskforce Brimrose. The captain narrows an eye. The Holy Ordos on Kata 2. And she looks confused, but hasn't ordered anyone to shoot you yet. So, probably a good sign.
I know what this looks like, but we need Orme's body. It may help us determine who did this to him.
And, just like the order would suggest, rather than, I don't know, informing some local authority of your plans, you figured snatch it up and let us deal with it on our own, yes?
We are trying to be discreet, but it seems that's no longer an option right now.
Yes, and she'll almost blatantly... In fact, I don't think, Zad, in your time, you've ever really seen a human be this brazen. She takes a few steps forward and taps on, like, the side of your Vangreave and just, yes, discreet with a 9-foot-tall yellow-armored demigod.
He has other uses.
Like carrying away politicians' bodies?
Among others.
She
uses, not bodies.
She turns back and just says, "You 4, get some order here. And you 4, with me."
Very well.
She turns and then turns back. "And bring the body, please."
Yes.
And as her Arbites turn and begin to, let's not mince words, violently stop the riot from happening by immediately shock mauling or gun butting anyone in front of them who's making too much noise until the crowd begins to calm down. Away parts and the guard captain begins to walk forward towards what looks like a sort of parked road car with a large open topped back, which she thumbs sort of towards, clearly indicating you should put the body back in there as some of her men begin to go and move back towards the crowd. Otherwise, she opens a door on the side, and there's enough room on the inside of the car for about 4 or 5. You wish that's probably where her troops were sitting before that, but she seems to be indicating to have you all sitting there as her troops are already beginning to pile into the back with the body.
I turn to the captain and say, whoever did that to Orme may still have an eye on this area.
We'll let patrols sweep around. Couldn't have gotten too far, yes?
Depends on how far away they started.
And she cocks an eyebrow, almost seemingly kind of... Are you getting at something?
I wasn't able to gather much before the panic started, but from what I could see, whoever took that shot did it from far away. I think you're looking for a sniper.
He taps into her wrist. Increase patrol sweeps out 4 sectors. Lock down everything that's moving in or out. Nothing leaves this manufactorum. And she taps around and just get in. Looks over at the Space Marine. It's rated for industrial, so I think you'll manage.
I will manage.
And she moves towards the driver's seat and sits down, waiting for you all to pile in.
Get in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So, you all find yourselves peeling off. The ride is uncomfortably quiet, primarily. I'd say largely because, well, adrenaline is still high, and there's far too much noise, I would say. But as you slowly distance yourself from the riot, slowly step yourself away from the noise of it all, you'll see the driving captain slowly pull off to a side of a long street into what looks like a large compound separated into 3 key buildings. One, you can tell by the 2 guards posted outside, it's clearly a sort of Arbitrate's barracks. There are 2 Arbitrate's guards outside of it, already maintaining themselves with their shotguns ready and leveled. The central building, you wager, is some kind of administration for them, perhaps maybe a way to process criminals. You don't, for the local here, you wager not many people actually get processed very often, so it doesn't seem like it's very active, but the building exists. The third building, well, given that the car is stopping outside of that building and 2 of her men are already grabbing the body and pulling it away, it's a morgue. The captain opens the door and sort of like thumbs her head, but gives a few hand gestures to indicate to other guards to sort of check the area, check the perimeter, make sure everything's secure. She turns back to you all, and opening that wrist again shows a symbol of 2 crossed batons with a skull over them, with the Imperial Aquila emblazoned on the forehead of the skull. Arbitrate's Captain Rannick. At your service, I would presume.
Barris Corbin, I guess de facto squad captain.
And the rest of you, then?
Gosh, no.
Would you like to introduce yourselves, or should I do it?
Lara's just gonna kind of pull down the collar of her shirt to show the scar.
She just nods in your direction.
Zedkiel Delos,
Lara is her
Mementos
name.
chapter.
Aria Yun Cantor of the Order of the Argent Dawn.
She looks around and just, you know, I've seen an Astartes exactly once in my life. A Sororitas maybe twice. Both at the same time? Well, unique occasion.
Unique circumstances.
I can't imagine good ones.
No.
Even less so now.
Indeed. I assume you had business with our now headless politician?
He's a person of interest in the investigation that brought us here.
He's a traitor to the Imperium.
She cocks her head up at you. Bold words.
Consulting with Xenos.
Bolder words.
Should we be telling her this?
Too late.
That is something you could have talked about beforehand, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just making lots of choices tonight, friends. We sure are.
I mean, hey, nobody told us not to say it.
Her brow furrows intently in jest. You are leveling
Me.
intense accusations at a now deceased man.
We did get the just
have
like out of character.
evidence.
We did get the evidence, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have evidence to back up those accusations. However, I'd say there are more pressing matters at hand.
Indeed. She kind of takes a moment to think. I have information that may be pertinent to whatever search you are on, though I don't know if it will be personally helpful to you. In any case, you requested the body before I accosted you all, yes?
Correct.
She thumbs her head towards the morgue. You have 4 hours.
Good.
Thank you for
When
your
you're done-
cooperation.
She nods. When you're done, Central Building. Speak with me there.
Thank you, Captain.
And she sort of, just kind of, again, a curt nod, turns. 2 more hand gestures. The last 2 of her guards who are around her form up around her and move with her into the building. One of them, one of the guards around the morgue area does seem to be like looking at you all, indicating with a salute that he is clear to let you all inside. So, you have about 4 hours, friends, with which you can investigate the body, talk to each other, figure out some things, and then go speak to the guard captain whenever you feel like you need to. What's the order of operations here, friendos?
I guess first we bring the body into the morgue.
Well, the body's already
Body's
been
in
brought
the
into the
morgue,
morgue.
yeah.
Yeah, the body's already been brought in, yeah.
We let Zed go have a snack.
That's one way to phrase it.
A choice of words.
It's definitely a choice of words.
Is indeed a choice of words.
Sure
You
is.
We
prefer
are making
meal?
lots of choices today.
I mean, hey, you also that'd be a great time to share any information you've gathered together amongst yourselves. You know what? I don't know if I'm guiding you all this much. I've ever done all this much. Fucking have fun. Do the thing.
Wait. A question, Foxy. Did the medical check do anything, or?
Yes, in fact, I will inform you of that now. As you are all entering into the morgue, it is a chilled area, which, so you know, it's perhaps slightly uncomfortable for the baseline humans here. But as you were entering into the room, this chilled, centralized area where they have placed this body on a table and already begun to, like, not so much wrap it entirely so as to conceal it, but already begun to place it in what will become its sort of containment area until they need to dispose of the body properly. But for now, it's sort of exposed on this table. You're getting a look at the body, and, well, minus a simple scar or two from possibly a life's labor, you wager maybe before becoming a politician, Odin was possibly a mining worker, maybe. Outside of that, not too many visible injuries, save for, well, yeah, the fact that he's missing a head. You know, that probably a pretty serious injury, I would say. It stopped bleeding by now. You know, it's no longer spurting blood everywhere, which is fantastic, I would say. But I would say that the biggest thing you are aware of, and I'd say this without having to roll a ballistic skill, is that, yeah, you're certain that he was hit by an incredibly powerful round of some kind. You're not certain offhand what kind of round it could be. You certainly aren't certain of anything that could fire from a long enough range that does that kind of damage. You've never used anything that would do that, Aria. But from what you can get a sense, and this is sort of tough to get a handle on, with that Medicaid, you're kind of also able to verify what Barris and Lara was sort of learned through their different methods. That yes, this shot definitely came from a sniper and not from one that would have been visible to you all from where you were in on the street.
Alright, most definitely a sniper round then. Unless something else affected the wound, but looks most like some kind of sniper round to me.
No head at all to do ballistics on. Makes it difficult. Gonna see if our psyker will speak up about psychometry things. But in the meantime, I don't know, how much do I need to partake of? Can I just, like, you know, jelly jar a little bit out and...
That's oh god. I think it would depend on how much info you're
Choice
going
words.
for.
Choice words.
If you're going for baseline, like things he saw, heard, maybe thought in the past like hour or so before his death, yeah, little finger in the jam jar might do it. But if you're going for like anything more detailed than that, you might have to break off a piece of Kit Kat bar, as it were. Maybe
Yeah.
a finger. I don't know.
If possible, I'd like to all I can think is some really bad analogies of describing this as a way that's food, but I shouldn't. But I will say I take my sampling from an area that's likely not to be analyzed very heavily, so probably the abdominal region, assuming he has armor that's very easily moved aside that can just kind of like, you know, have a bit.
Wouldn't say it's too hard. No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Feet.
So,
Don't-
I mean, if you want, I think Aria could have been like starting the autopsy in his, you know, the Y
Just-
across the chest.
Let's
just
let's
cut off a little
Why
piece,
across the
hold it up
chest?
on a fork.
Just take
One-
his appendix.
one
Take his
for him and
appendix.
one for you.
I
Yeah.
mean, the appendix is useless anyways.
God, I wish there was
No
someone
one
who
cares
could
about
do-
the appendix.
Just Adkil sitting at the side like you're carving a turkey and he's a dog. Anyway, no, I think no. He's gonna go in for the autopsy and just kind of, you know, be a space marine from the the Blood Angels chapter, and tear off a bit with his sharpened fangs to get the full effect, like suck blood, do the whole thing. So getting a good mouthful.
As the please go ahead.
I was gonna say, as you're doing your thing, I'm gonna speak up. Lara's gonna speak up and say, whoever did this had to have been watching him intently. This was not a planned event. Not certain where he was going, but he left his quarters to do a walk. On a walk. And resorted to his pontificating and gathering of supporters. These people were crowding around him as he went.
They should have known his habits too, because that's the kind of shot that's an opportunistic one. Sorry. I feel like it's the sort of thing where it's like, if you know his habits, you know he's probably going to be stopping around and doing his usual, as you call it, firebranding.
So, as you were all pontificating on this, Zad leans over, gets the sharpened fang to dig into the flesh, pull off a solid chunk of it, and chomp down. As the still coppery tang of blood slips down your throat, you are mostly able to verify what Lara said. This was not a planned event on behalf of Odin. In fact, you see him stand up from his desk after looking over some reports, feeling some regret, perhaps some pain in his chest. You see him stand up and desire a bit of fresh air, just wanting to clear his head, kind of. Before he leaves, he does look at a couple of things. He looks over at a patrol log, which determines who his current guard is. It mentions Captain Rannick, who you've just met with, and some others. And you'll feel in his brain, very briefly, for lack of a better term, a disappointment, a desire for, more, perhaps. Hard to tell as you're not really tuned into getting memory or emotion, more just like what happened. You're more tuned for memory than you are for emotion. But you are getting a slight tinge of melancholy when he's looking at the guard. And in fact, as he looks up at another sort of report, which is basically a recent sort of news gathering, which mentions a bombing, a small scale explosive incident, which happened somewhere else on the planet that required some guard shifting to be done, which meant that he had to have a lesser guard that he wanted. This is all being delivered to him by virtue of, well, a transmission, a mystic from another hive governor. The hive governor he appeared to be borrowing the guard from for the past little bit of time. That hive governor is one Tata Nur Solve, a traditionalist who you remember learning about when you were given the information on the main politicians on this planet. You also get some other twinge of feeling when he reads over that report from Tata Nur Solve. You have not felt human emotion in the same way a mortal has for a very long time, so it's difficult to piece together what that emotion is, but it's strange. It's a sticky feeling. Doesn't leave him when he's walked out of the door. Other than that, yeah. A walk down the street, people began to come out and swarm around him, crowd and laugh around him. He smiled and shook hands with them, talked to them, got to know them, purchased things from their shops, and told them about their work. And then, nothing. Quiet. Death. In fact, the last thing he probably saw was your imposing armored ass walking up to him.
I know that guy.
Oh, look, it me.
Coming out of like the haze, like opening his eyes and wiping that gore away from his face, he'll look to the rest of the group. Cutthroat Soul's guard was assigned to him this day. Captain Rannoch works for one of the traditionalists. Her motivations might be suspect. But geez, not all at once.
Doing some thinking, friends? Some intense thinky thinks?
We'll have to be on our guard when we go meet with her.
That's a question. Are there are there any like cameras or recording devices in the morgue, or is it just?
If you give me an awareness roll, I'll tell you.
Aria's definitely great at awareness rolls. Absolutely.
The most aware.
Very.
You've never been more aware. I've never seen him more
Oh,
aware.
wait. Okay, I rolled a single success, but it was a 6, so that's 2.
Mm-hmm. So, with 2, you can see some simple security cameras. You don't know if any hive here has enough has enough budget floating around for like audio recording along with their camera systems. You aren't certain of that, but there is 1 or 2 cameras pointing at the center area of the morgue, and they can probably see you from where you are.
Well, hopefully none of them can read lips then.
We could always use the Skype call.
Please don't call it that in character.
We
I think,
do have certain nonverbal means of communication.
That would require convincing Zadkiel to impart on it.
I mean, depending on the angle, I think Aria is just going to, like, elbow Zadkiel, like, very lightly into a position where he's, like, basically the back of his head is to a camera instead. He's tall.
That's doable.
Look, he's tall, Arya's short. Now they can both
Mhm.
talk without any problems.
They should date. I mean, what?
Is this necessary, sister?
They should workshop their tandem maneuver, the fastball special.
My lord, there are security cameras in here if you are concerned about the security of our reports. Then, if you stand here, and Arya's like going to like look all the way up to like crane her neck towards Zadkiel.
Cute, I can't lie, actually.
Then standing here would assist the rest of us with communicating without having our lips read. Or yours.
Very well. Directional microphones would make this folly, but there is wisdom in your work as usual.
Thank you.
But as I've said, Captain is suspect. We should continue our work as independently as we can. Our involvement may only bog us down in this planet's minor political games.
I don't intend to reveal more than we need to the captain.
What do we intend to reveal then?
Well, I had only intended to tell her that Orme was a person of interest in our investigation, and that he was killed as we were going to confront him.
You should have spoke up sooner then. It would have been good to cut me off.
Translation. My bad, Chief.
Well,
Perhaps you should have held your tongue.
Uh-oh.
Perhaps.
There's nothing that can be done about it now. If she asks for any more details, I intend to invoke our rank and tell her that we're not at liberty to disclose that.
She should be our subject of interrogation, not the other way around.
There may be some merit to what you're saying, however, I'd rather avoid... she does have protection, and I'd rather avoid a brawl. Is there any way we could perhaps glean some information without her knowing? Or without her thinking to resist?
You refer, of course, to the witch.
It's worth a shot.
The witch, which we do not know whether we can truly trust or not.
She's just kind of like standing there, looking back and forth. The epitome of, I'm right here.
Oh, I know.
We will discuss that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, we're in a delicate situation. Any kind of nuance we can apply to it would most likely work to our benefit. I suppose speaking of your psychic powers, Laura, if that's even your real name, I'm not even sure at this point, but
Even your real.
if that is your real name, were you able to find anything?
Regarding the politician being shot.
His assassination, anything?
I've shared with you what I know.
Is there anything that could help paint a clearer picture of the scene? For you to recreate?
It is very messy when you're dealing with perceived memory of multiple individuals. Unless I was accessing the mind of someone with a perfect memory, then I cannot offer any more insight than I already have.
Perfect memories. Oh
Yes.
boy. Is that you?
Yes.
As an Astartes, how would you describe your faculties of memory?
The Emperor has gifted us with a strong mind.
Oh no. Zed, I may have to ask you to do something difficult.
There is nothing difficult for me, Captain.
I need you to cooperate with Lara.
The witch.
With her abilities and your memory, it's possible we can construct as clear a picture as we're going to get of what happened to Orme. There's no one else but you who can do this. However, I know what your faith means to you, so I won't force you.
I have lore questions really quick. Two things. One, Council of Nicaea. Would that have dictated this sort of thing, an extension, but also as an add-on to that, does the Codex Astartes approve this action?
To your first point, the Edict of Nicaea was technically overridden at the Siege of Terra. At least its basic points were.
That's
And
fair.
even then, the Edict of Nicaea only dictates that there's no use of psychic powers amongst the Astartes legions, which
Yeah.
technically Lara is not.
There you go. That was my thing on that one.
So your second point, does the Code of support this action? I don't think it says it's wrong. I think it would say that you're supposed to guard your mind against any foreign invasion. But I do think that it would be up to your discretion on whether or not letting an allied, quote unquote, psyker get in your brain is a foreign invasion or not. Ultimately, your call.
For the good of the Imperium and this mission that serves our Emperor, I will allow it. But let it be done quickly and simply. Any further probes into my mind, and he's saying this not towards, not towards you, Varys, but rather towards our witch. Any further attempts to probe my memory, my thoughts, my being, will be met with vengeance and wrath. And glory.
Only if we roll 6, though.
That's the game. Goodbye, everybody.
Roll credits.
But Zadkiel will...
Thank you, Zadkiel.
Well, in such a case, Zad is prepared to allow your mind to be opened up by our psychic friend. Lara, could you give me a psychic mastery roll, please?
Yeah.
Roll of yonder mastery of the psychics, please.
Roll of yonder. Roll of yonder mastery.
What you got for me?
That's a 6 on the wrath die.
We love those.
And 5 icons total.
So, with 5 icons total, you I'm gonna give you the result. Tell you what you know. While I'm giving you this result, Zad, can you roll me a ballistic skill test? But instead of using your agility modifier like you normally would, or whatever modifier you normally would, use your intelligence modifier. Use your intelligence number for find that with your ballistic skill number and roll that for me if you could, please.
Okay.
Figure that out mathematically on your own while I do a bit of minor narration. So, Lara, you extend your psychic senses outward. Reach out tendrils of your own sort of presence into Zadkiel's mind and slowly peel away layers and layers of barrier, built up defense trained in from all of his psycho conditioning from his life at the beginning of the Stargaze. You peel through all of that with a relative ease, and you slowly begin to. That's a really good fucking number. You slowly begin to. Oh man, this is gonna give away way more shit than I need to. But you rolled good, so it's gonna happen. First, we start with this. You recognize that, yes, indeed, the shot that I've already said so many fucking times came from not directly in front of the crowd, did a little bit more than that. As I share with you your first clue for this act, would someone like to read it?
I'll do it. I'm the one doing the mind probing.
Go on.
Analyzing the trajectory, disposition, and other ballistics data from the incident proves to be a vexing task, though after diligent study and ruling out some of the most outlandish predictions, at least one set of details becomes abundantly clear. The shot that felled Orme Utun was fired from almost a kilometer away, perhaps further. While the exact position of the shooter is difficult to place, it is evident that in order to land where it did, it would have had to thread the space between two buildings, and perfectly miss all of several easily hit bystanders to land an accurate shot. Almost impossible to make for the average human shooter.
So, you find yourself piecing through this thought. And then, Lara, the most amazing thing happens. Your perception slows. Not just the memory you're observing, but as you're watching this, the visual data in front of you literally slows down. You can see small insects in motion, gently flying by. Hear the slow buzz of static, the crack of that gunshot echoing like a thunderous cannon in your ear. And it's then, just as you watch, you see the complete explosion as Orme Uten's face becomes a wash of red and white and pink. You watch this and recognize this is not your psychic sense doing this. This is Zadkiel's own mind processing the information the way his brain does it. His Astartes physiology slowly piecing together the information and, wow, creating a more complex web of what's happening. And it's then that you realize Orme Uten's head was completely vaporized damn near by the shot. Not quite literally, but it exploded. You are almost certain no standard weapon you've seen in your time does that. You've been on this planet for a decade and a half, seen all kinds of personal defense weapons from auto pistols to rough las rifles to even an occasional bolt pistol here or there. And while weapons in the 41st Millennium can be devastating, you've never seen something do that much damage from that far away. You almost think it might be a Corsair weapon, something of your people. But then you recognize your people use weapons of a more elegant sort. If they don't break a material down at the base level, it slices through it with thin monomolecular blades or sharp piercing bullets. This was not a weapon of your heritage. But as you slow it down and watch that explosion of the brain happen a fifth time, you and Zadkiel realize the exact same thing at the same time. Only one weapon could have possibly put that kind of wound on Orme Uten. An Imperial one. A bolt rifle. And with that, we give ourselves the slightest break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And touch that dial or that browser as we let our party figure out what I just revealed to them.
Just smacked my forehead so hard my service studs came out.
And we return. Tonight's episode of By His Shadowed Peace. Just as the memory link between Lara and Zadkiel gives us a bit of clarity, We find ourselves zipping back in just as that memory snaps through. We've identified not just our overall sort of murder method, but our murder weapon. Friends, as that scene transitions back towards our normal reality, I pass the scene back on to you, because I'm going to eat chips.
I'm assuming Lara breaks that connection.
Yeah, if there's really nothing else to glean, then she'll back off.
He's gonna stand back up to full height, blocking that camera again, and just... Impossible.
What did you see?
Nothing good.
Oh, Lord.
There's a likelihood, a distinct possibility that our sniper was Imperial.
What?
They used a bolt rifle.
They fired...
Nothing else can cause that much damage.
They fired the bolt rifle with incredible accuracy, the distance of which is likely only recorded by Xenos, highly trained members of the Order Assassinorum, or Astartes.
You think another Space Marine did this?
If they were, they would not be fit to be called such. They would be traitors. Servants of the ruinous powers.
Do you have any way to know if there's another Astartes on planet?
I've been cut off from my chapter for some time. Communication between chapters is not unheard of, but is rare. And none would likely contact the Lamenters.
Guess we're on our own.
What about the Assassinorum? Is it possible it's them?
I refuse to rule it out. Only the thought that an Astartes committing such a heinous act troubles me greatly. Assassins are known for their capabilities. This is certainly one such shot that would require it. We could try and pinpoint the scene of with the proper site of the shooter, see if any evidence was left. But I doubt at this point we will find much more than false leads and arbitres.
Either case sounds like they would know how to clean up after themselves, you're right.
We should speak with this god captain. She was assigned to Udin. She will know more of his mind than perhaps we do.
If the shooter had to be one of these two, it does lessen the suspicion on her.
Something to give her relief. Perhaps she will open up more to you. Or perhaps better to let her sweat.
Both are good options.
I leave it to you then. Clearly you're dissatisfied with the way I've communicated with her thus far.
I guess it can't be helped now. Besides, I got the feeling she wanted to talk to all of us.
But we need only speak with one voice.
How did I get to be the leader? Alright. So how much time do we have before we meet? Or how much of our 4 hours have we used?
So you've probably eaten for about a good hour and a half. You still have some time to yourself if you want to like talk amongst yourselves some more before, you speak with the guard captain. Maybe you want to talk about like anything else. I don't know, any other stuff you might have going on in your brains.
Not in this scene.
Well, anybody else?
I think Aria is going to interject with, are we planning on forwarding a copy of the evidence to the captain? Not sure if it is going to be of use. Or... I'd rather not play into any of the possible political games going on in this planet.
I think you may be right. That's not our goal here in any case.
We need to report in. We did discover who was behind the tributes, or the lack of tributes.
I suppose so. Shall I call him then?
Not in here.
Fair enough. Where should we go? Where is likely to be free from prying eyes and ears? Could find a bathroom somewhere.
A lavatory. Truly. Are we so juvenile?
Probably not, but something to keep in the back pocket.
Once we have completed our conversation with the Arbites, we shall make our way from this place, return to our vehicle, and find a secluded spot in which to contact our Inquisitor.
All right.
That's my suggestion, at least.
You think there's anything to gain by contacting him before we meet her, or before we see her?
I do not know. I leave the judgment to you. But I've made my opinion clear that I think she's a source of information, not an asset. That is what I sound like when I move around. Damn, even the train's like, spicy that kill day.
Train's like, oh shit, Drum, I gotta come back around for this.
Yeah. But yeah. Alright.
All right. What about the rest of you? Any
Well,
thoughts?
no one's getting in or out of the city, according to the Arbite.
Well, we still got a few hours before the captain wants us to meet her.
Shall we rest further?
If
If
anyone needs
anyone so
Patrick.
desires.
You have had a bit of a day.
I don't see the harm in taking some time to ourselves to ruminate and possibly come back with further thoughts.
I require time to
Okay,
clean
then.
my armor.
Shall
Well-
we meet up back here when it's time to go meet the captain?
I don't think it's
I will
wise
remain-
to.
Please,
I don't
please,
think
friends.
it's wise for us to stray too far from one another.
They will be in the courtyard, and Zekil's gonna go plodding off. That feels like the most appropriate verb here. Thunking also comes to mind, but Zadkiel's gonna
A
make
little baby, just wobbling off like a little lad.
just every
Fucking
piston
lad keel.
firing. Ladkiel. Dadkiel, Ladkiel, Sadkiel. I've surely picked the best name.
When he's in a good mood, he's glad kill.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a bad mood. He's mad keel. This is a super important, like super intense stream, by the way, guys. Lots of high drama in this campaign.
No, Zadkiel's gonna make his way out.
He
to
can
the
buy a house and
courtyard.
have it be his pad kill.
Stop. Enough.
Silence. But Zadkiel's gonna make his way out into the courtyard and just kind of, apropos, like not really giving any mind to whatever else is going on out there, is just gonna go and take a kind of meditative state on both knees.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you'll notice an Arbitrator too is like looking over to you, as in like possibly never seen a Space Marine before looking over at you, but I don't think anyone has the heart or gumption to come over and stop you from your meditation right now. Mostly because they don't know if you'll crush their windpipe for it. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Well, what are the rest of you up to?
I think Aria is going to move sort of between the body and Barus and I guess, and just she's going to start offering prayers to the Emperor for the safety of, well, for the safety of those of us who are still alive, and, well, Orme was a traitor, so he doesn't get anything.
Guy.
He's also already dead. I don't know if safety is going to do him much good.
His soul could use some safety, probably. I don't know. It's kind of like a whole separate dimension where souls go when they die, where gods eat you. It's pretty fucked up. It's really fucked up universe, guys. Any case,
Well, we hope the Emperor eats him first.
I mean, hey,
hey, yo, anyway.
if it feeds the if it feeds the
sure
god
hope I
Emperor,
never get reincarnated in the dark future.
I mean, what?
Oh wait, no,
Heresy?
that's
What?
Cyberpunk.
Wait, what?
It is the grim dark future. It's a different thing.
Grim dark future.
The future.
In any case,
40%.
so, as Aria, you begin to offer your prayers over the body.
I'm just assuming there's
Barth?
also nothing else to be gleaned from the dead body. So
At this point, no, nothing major. You figured out the murder weapon. You still are kind of figuring out shot location, although you have a general idea of where it came from based on the memories. Yeah, there really isn't much useful you can gain from the corpse right now specifically. So take your time to pray over it. It's totally fine. Barris, Lara, plans?
I think that in the matter of time, considering the Arbiters are already doing searches, maybe we give them the information about where the shot came from.
I agree.
We won't be able to leave to do the search ourselves.
No. And they have more manpower than us, to be sure.
Indeed.
So would we have to go to the captain to do that, or can we do that before the meeting?
Say, if you were planning on to pass on information about the shot, there's probably something you want to pass on to the captain, most likely. If you want to go see the captain before the rest of you all assemble, I'd say that's easily something you could do if you wanted to.
I'm just a normal guy. I don't really have much to do in terms of superhumanity or rituals.
Fair and valid.
So I'm down to report to or psychic powers. So
Yeah,
I'm down to
anyway.
just go report.
well, even if not, you could always join me in prayer.
I don't know the words.
You don't have to.
just have to feel them in your hearts.
Welcome the Emperor's light.
Where's the Emperor? In here.
I mean, she says that, and then she immediately like opens her book, flips all the way over to page 1, where the preface is written in like low Gothic or something, and starts reading aloud with like the words turned like over towards Barras. She's like read it so much that she's literally memorized it while having like it just has the page turned towards Barras so he can read.
I guess in fairness, this is the most I have ever needed to kill a few hours. But I guess I'll go talk to the captain then.
I will join you. Because I'm
So-
the one who knows where the shot came from.
It's true. So, I'll mostly montage this for sake of simplicity. The two of you are able to go find the guard captain in the central administrative building. It takes you a while to actually get permission to go up there because everything in this building is run incredibly bureaucratically and with very little actual organization. And so while you put in a request to be able to go see the guard captain when you walk into that main central area, no one lets you in for maybe another good hour or so, annoyingly enough. But when you are finally led up to the sort of highest, I guess maybe the fifth or sixth floor of this building, you finally are able to get into Guard Captain Rannick's office and sort of sit you down for a while. It's a large wooden, a large, mostly barren room, honestly. A desk on it which has several files on pieces of vellum written all over it. There's a data pad that I'm here to be using currently. And there's several sort of small, very simple steel chairs. It's a very, very bare office. Although you do notice that there is one picture on the desk of a woman, a redhead. And so the two of you enter, and again, I'm mostly montages for the sake of simplicity. You're able to give her simple information on where you believe the shot came from, and while she is clearly amazed by the possibility that a shot could come from that far, she has already seen a sororitas, a space marine, and someone get their head blown up today. She's not going to sit here and worry about possibility right now. So he informs her guards to spread out their patrol patterns and look further out to let them know they're looking for a sniper, possibly somebody enhanced, or possibly dealing with someone very armed, very dangerous. And she spends most of the time, honestly, awkwardly enough, even if you guys stay there for the remaining like hour and a half till everyone assembles, she doesn't talk to either of you unless prompted. She just kind of goes back to her work.
Oh.
Well,
Hello, Twitch.
that work was pretty intensive, I guess.
That was some
Yeah.
very intense work.
It was my turn for Discord to explode, and now we're back. So yeah, she appears to be on face an incredibly stoic person. Doesn't appear to pull herself away from her work for any personal distractions too often. So unless you two prompt her on anything, she isn't going to engage with any of you until, well, something like that happens.
I mean, I have questions, but I don't know if they should wait until everyone's assembled.
Up to you.
Might be better to wait.
In that case, Lara, if there's nothing, then we can say those 2 hours pass relatively quietly, with you all just awkwardly sitting there in silence for a bit. Rennick has eventually stopped to draw a simple, small bar of some kind, a sort of ration bar of some kind from a drawer in the desk, which she begins to nibble on for a little bit. And it's just as she begins to finish that timer kind of ticks over, and you'll notice Aria and Zadkiel join you two from outside of the room. It would appear that they probably also got held up a little bit by all the bureaucracy of this place, but they are eventually brought up to the area where you are. And as soon as the two of you enter, Rennick will just look up and just, about damn time. Come on in, grab a seat. Don't know if I have a chair big enough for you, big guy.
I am fine to stand.
He can have 2.
I think Arya's literally still reading from the book and is very pointedly giving Barras a look and like has the book flipped over so he can also look at the words. She's very disappointed in him right now.
Did we ever actually discuss that? um, well, we've told you the big piece already about where the shot came from and who or what we think might have fired it. What we're still trying to figure out is why.
Well, the answer's there, a myriad, frankly. And it could be as simple as another one of the hive governors decided that Odin's noise was a little bit too, well, noisy. Outside actor, radical agitant, insurrectionist, terrorist, you name it.
What was Odin's relationship to the other governors? His peers, as it was.
Funny that. Well, complicated one. K2 is a planet of personal ambition and public appearance, you see? So while people like Odin have to make themselves look a certain way in public, it gets complicated behind that. Trouble is, who counts as public sometimes? I ain't been working with the man too long personally before his untimely death, but from what I could see, Governor Amira, the other populist, and him appeared to keep correspondence frequently. I could see them talking here and there. Traditionalists, I've never seen him be within 5 feet of King without speaking his feet. Nursolve, well, that's more complicated.
Go on.
I would if I could. I don't know specifics. I know their relationship is, well, longer standing than any of the others. Whether it's antagonistic, cooperative, impossible to tell. Their meetings are mostly closed-door, and they haven't talked in some time. I work with Governor Nursolve, and she doesn't bring up Governor Amira. Governor Odin. I'm just a guard captain, no. Not one of her scribes or anything like that.
So she loaned out you and your squad to Orme?
Odin refused to keep Arbitrate's guard on his normal person. Said it made his appearance look less inviting to the people around him, as the Arbitrates are a figure of oppression, fear, and disdain. He's not wrong. Thus, when it came time for election season, I am not sure the specifics. All I knew was that new orders were handed down to me that I was supposed to escort him until the duration of the last season. I would have had more men with me, especially for a day like today. However, we've been spread a bit thin recently between here and our primary deployment.
And any of the groups you mentioned, whether his political rivals or any of the fringes, would any of them have any access to either the weapon or the quality of shooter that did this?
I'm on a level with you perfectly. I don't think I know what a bolt rifle exactly is. Astartes' weaponry is finicky. Doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible for a baseline human to have one or fire one. That accurately, well, we're starting getting into realms of things that are beyond me, frankly. I don't know if any party involved personally here has the means to acquire that kind of person, or has that kind of person on staff, or that kind of weapon on hand. But if I know one thing about the Imperium, it's that if you have enough throne and know enough people, you can get your hands on just about anything.
And I don't suppose you've seen any other... Oh, Laura, did you have something to say?
I was gonna say that she's got 2 questions that she's written out on a notepad. One is, what has the Arbiter spread so thinly?
She looks at that one, sort of sighs. By default, we deploy ourselves around Governor Nursolve. She bases herself around Mindsync C Primus. Unfortunately, there's been a recent string of bombing attacks out there. Nothing too high scale and nothing too notable, but, well, we've been having to divert our numbers out there to keep the investigations going and security out there, while still maintaining ourselves here.
follow-up to it is, was Governor Narsolve a target? Or are they considered a target?
I think she looks at this and just says, well, at the moment, we have no solid motive, no shooter. All we have is a possible murder weapon and a location. As such, someone willing to kill one hive governor is probably willing to kill another one. Been given no sustaining orders, but I can't imagine that a month goes by without me being deployed back to C Primus. If you want my assumption, every politician will get more tight-lipped over this. They don't let one of their own die without noticing it.
Do you think that there's a chance that... Is it Narsolve that was the other? Okay, then I doubled up my questions. I guess we can follow it up again with, is there a chance that some of the other politicians outside of Narsolve could be a target as they're moving around?
I think she says, at this moment, that's unclear. Given again, we aren't really sure what the possibility of motive here is. I assume other politicians will be securing themselves more guards and security. If there's anything that I hear about, I could pass that information on to his Ordos, though you all are my only current contact with whatever Inquisition forces may be on the planet. That leads to a follow-on question, however, if you'd allow me to be so blatant as to ask.
Go on.
Why is the Inquisition on Kata 2? What in the hell are you looking for? And what does that have to do with the governor?
It's not actual sounds I'm making. Just what
I
I'm feeling on the
mean,
inside.
we already named him as a possible traitor working with Xenos, so...
You did say that.
Well, our original mission was to investigate missing tithes to the Imperium. We found out we found that Orme can't talk today.
Talk is difficult.
We found that Orme was involved in modification of shipping ledgers, disguising the missing tithes. As for the Xeno involvement, I'm afraid I can't go into detail on.
Color me surprised. Well, cryptic information aside, I suppose your remit is all your own. It's not my place to question. Follow-on question then. With the Hive Governor dead, will business still have you on planet?
I'm afraid I can't answer that.
Figured that would be the answer.
What can I say?
Well, it's difficult to offer my collaboration with your operation if I'm not able to gain any information on what you're doing.
Sorry, that's a great line. Just beat to it. No, it's stone-faced.
Unfortunately, the biggest lead we had in our investigation just got his head blown off this morning. So, for right now, the best way to help us in our investigation would be to find any leads on who did this. You see any other 9-foot superhumans walking around? For starters.
And I'll probably shoot first and ask questions later. But I'll make sure when I ask questions, I inform you of them.
You mentioned you had seen one before. That was not recent, I take it.
Off planet, a few years back. I was in the guard.
commendable.
Horrifying. Put behind me.
As all things in the Emperor's service are, and it has made you stronger.
Well, I'll leave that for him to call when I go meet him, yeah?
Very well.
Nonetheless, while I can't offer you anything concrete, given how cryptic you're being, I can say this. It would appear, whatever is happening, Governor Nursolve is somehow involved. I don't know if you want to go around waving that rosary to hope to speak to her, but if you can get in touch with her, or at the very well learn more about whatever she's up to, you may find yourself closer to whatever it is you're looking for. I'd offer whatever I can, but again, just a guard captain.
Thank you for that information.
Anything else you have useful to offer me?
I will say this. Since you already know about Xeno involvement, we don't know for sure that we had dealt with some of them previously, but we don't know for sure that their involvement is resolved. Be on your guard.
Xenos. On planet.
Believe me, when I say I can't tell you, it's for your own good.
Worrying. Well, the intel is appreciated. I will pass what information I can on work towards my patrols and have them remain vigilant. The best we can hope for now is that things quiet down for a while.
Indeed.
We should move. Will we be given will we be given transportation back to our original position?
She taps in and just need 3 in a buggy for a ride back towards the docks. She says, "Best I can offer. On your own from there."
Very well. Your cooperation is appreciated.
I'd say yours is, but it's scarce.
You will know our works as they are done.
And I can rely on that much. Ave Imperador.
Emperor be with you.
Ave.
She turns and kind of goes back to the data. Again, doesn't like see you all out or anything, just immediately returns to her work quietly, as if none of you were even there to begin with.
If we do find anything that will be of relevance to you, how should we contact you?
She looks up and then goes over to a sort of a small supply closet next to her desk and opens it, pulls a pair of comm beads and just, these are two-way. This line will come directly to me, and she'll pass one to you.
Right.
Be warned,
Hopefully,
though. Signal can be spotty sometimes when you're outside of a few 100,000 miles.
Noted. Hopefully, as we proceed, our cooperation can be less scarce.
One would hope.
Thank you again for your assistance, Captain.
Indeed. You keep your head down while riding around on my planet, yes?
As I am wont to do.
Hmm.
I can't speak for the tall one, though.
She looks over. Sorry, please.
I always take care to give myself adequate protection. Keeping my head low is but a simple matter of utilizing cover.
Yeah, but you tend to need more of it than the rest of us.
I don't know. Seen things go over his head pretty often.
My faith is my shield.
Hmm. Well, as long as your shield is your faith and not your face. Anywho, You are all free to dismiss yourselves at any point you need. You are all allowed to leave the sort of Arbites barracks in this area. As you exit, you will find again there is a buggy out front with a few Arbites guards inside of it already, preparing to shepherd you all back towards the front. Although this time you all are made to ride in the back, unlike last time when you made your way here. But you are able to rapidly be moved through the streets. You'll notice that there are already several Arbites squads as you ride by the courtyard you were moving through. They've already cordoned off that area and made it sort of separate to create an investigative area. While obviously the body isn't there anymore, there are definitely still no more crowd of people moving through the area. And it's as you can sort of finally see this open space that you're recognizing again, just how perfectly that shot had to have been placed to not only again weave between the spot it had to, but the fact that again, Aria, like you recall, it didn't hit a single other person. Well, that would have been far easier to do than just not hitting them. Alas, you are brought back towards the hangar. The Arbites guards pull over towards the side and let you all out, offer a simple salute, and wordlessly begin to drive back onto their own patrol routes. Your Goliath waits in the docking bay you left it in previously. You have full free reign to move and head anywhere you'd like to. The question I'd like to ask you all is, where are you headed?
Once the Arbites vehicles are out of earshot, Zedka would cut in with, it is likely of note that the bombings might be connected to the CP12 cartel. Their primary base is lodged on the 22nd floor, 12th level of that structure.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
If we are to speak with this other governor, it might be worth our time to clean up the mess.
Man,
Do not
those guys again.
Do not fear your previous associates. They fell easily before.
Clean up the vermins.
Those who would reject the Emperor's laws are lower than the lowest, and will fall as simple as vermin, indeed.
Well, before we do any of that, we said we'd call the Inquisitor, right?
Yes. There's wisdom in that.
I assume you all do this from the comfort of your Goliath truck and not out in the streets in broad daylight.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Just-
kid, hold this transponder for us.
Kid, take the selfie one time real quick.
Yeah.
Just take
The
the
drip is immaculate. I mean, hey, it wouldn't be the most obvious thing y'all have done today. Anyway, so it is as you start to move towards your truck, I want exactly one of you, and you all can decide who, to give me an awareness roll. Only one of you, though.
Got it. This goes.
My awareness is a 4.
I got a
I
6.
can do it. Mine is a 7.
Go for it.
Roll that. Don't hold the number. Tell me it. Hold the number. Tell me it later. Let's do Inquisitor stuff for now.
Oops. Well, don't look at the chat then.
I'm not looking at it right now anyway. Don't worry about it. Me look at roll 20? Never. I'm too busy doing other things. In any case, you manage to step inside of your Goliath. I'm assuming, Barrett, you're going to take. Are you going to all pile in the back and speak there? Or are you going to get in your your position to drive first and then call him that way? What's the call?
Way in the back so we're all seen.
Probably not a horrible idea.
I am generally against talking on the phone while driving, so
That's all fair. So, as
especially
you all
since I
pilot,
moved to North Carolina.
so as you all move into the back of your Goliath rock truck, your Goliath truck, and you activate your transponder. It takes a little while, as again, when you last spoke with her, they mentioned that they were establishing a deep cover and we want to keep contact to a minimum. But after a few minutes of transponding, that blue light slowly blinking, it does solidify. And the transponder, it initializes a large construct of just their bust, honestly, the neck up area of your Inquisitor, Malcolm Brimrose, who you've been working under for this time. Acolytes,
Sir?
I trust you come with some kind of tidings.
I wish they were better.
I'm going to assume they involve the counselor with a missing head. Yes?
See, word has reached you then.
Oh, it's not as if an assassination doesn't travel fast on a planet like this. Nothing really happens interesting around here.
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the worst of it.
What can you tell me?
Thanks to cooperation between Lara and Zadkiel, we have some leads on the identity of the shooter.
Oh?
The shot was apparently made from over a kilometer away, threaded between two buildings, and managed to avoid hitting, and was made without hitting any of the surrounding civilians, only striking one.
Impossible.
Impossible, and also made with a bolt rifle.
Wow. It's almost like he has a clip, but then stops as you say bolt rifle and just... That means our culprits are limited in possibility.
Very much so.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, the most obvious answer is there are other Astartes on planet. So you'd think that we would have seen them, or heard mention of another 9-foot tall superhuman walking around.
There are ways for us to conceal ourselves.
How many of them involve blankets?
Your knowledge of the
Only
chapters of his most holy nights is surprisingly small.
We don't get a lot of holy knights out here, sorry to say.
There are other options. Lord Inquisitor, are you aware of any Assassinorum cults that have been dispatched in the local sector?
I hate to say it, but if I was, I doubt I would be allowed to be informed of that. Or doubt I could inform any of you. But I will say, transparently, I have no knowledge of local Assassinorum operations happening in this sector. I mean, if there were, I can't imagine a small-time hive governor doing some backside deals with some Xenos would be worthy of a full Vindicare.
More troubling then, as it seems my former brothers might be the culprit.
Possibilities are strong, though still unclear. It's not impossible for a baseline human to fire a bolt rifle, and a shot like that could be down to pure luck. While I don't much deal in happenstance, I am an Inquisitor after all. We have to make sure that no possibilities are ruled out until we know for certain. Your vigilance will be paramount. You understand this, yes?
Of course.
Is there more?
An update regarding the governor's activities, or the councillor's activities, rather.
Go on.
We discovered a group of Eldari working with the governor. It seems they were responsible for raiding the outbound ships.
Would explain why they've been so damn hard to catch. How'd you become aware of this?
We found some inconsistencies in the shipping registers, and we went to the spaceport to investigate. We engaged them in combat, but there was a complication, sir.
And that would be?
This planet. According to the Eldari we engage with, this planet is a Necron tomb world. Did I say that right, by the way?
Mhm.
By the throne. This is massive. And they simply what? Let you all leave with that knowledge?
They were dispatched in at least a majority.
Whatever they were doing with Orme, they seemed to think that they were working to keep it contained. After our engagement with them, whatever work they were doing to contain it has ceased.
You believe then that we are on a time crunch?
Is there anything else that can be done to ensure that the tomb world stays dormant?
I will be honest. Necron archaeology and understanding is a little bit beyond my specialty, but not impossible. I could, perhaps, call in... There is one possibility I could resort to, but it will require all of your discretion, all of your wherewithal, and all of your trust.
There's definitely a jaw-locking sound from Zadkiel.
But before we get there, I trust, if you've encountered the Eldari, you've likely learned at least something more about one of your members.
They are not one of our group. That was confirmed to us by a fellow Inquisitor, Lord Inquisitor.
Another Inquisitor. Domina.
Precisely.
Damn. I had hired word she was snooping around here. Part of why I was trying to establish deeper cover. If her nose is meddled in this, then things have become even more complicated. She's a passionate one, that one. Sees enemies everywhere, corruption where it need not be, and heresy anywhere she can find it. Puritanical, which is admirable, but to a fault.
How concerned do we need to be of her presence here?
How concerned do we need to be about our witch?
He looks, kind of indicates his head over towards you, Barris. To your first point, not in the slightest. If she becomes a roadblock, I will deal with her myself. To your point, Brother Zadkiel, I will remind you that I am a ranking high Inquisitor amongst this operation, and while you operate with me, any force that I tell you to operate with, regardless of its origin, is under my jurisdiction. As you are part of my task force, it is part of yours as well. If there is a problem, we can discuss that with the High Lords.
will be no issue, my lord.
Are you certain of that, brother?
I am certain.
We live in trying times. The Imperium is split in twain, and darkness rends itself into our reality with every waking moment. We must use every tool at our disposal to ensure that we root out enemies wherever we may find them, even if some of those tools you may find offensive to your personal belief systems.
There's not a verbal response, but there is the kind of like personal belief systems look that speaks to what kind of loosey goose interpretation of the Imperial Creed are you following? What do you got?
I think Aria has like the same
Excuse
sort
me,
of like,
sir.
excuse me, sir? Question mark face.
What are you, Protestant?
And if you haven't
Hello.
figured it out, maybe he's a bit of a radical. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool dude.
He then he cuts his head over and says, "If you can understand that, then I may possibly have a lead on what may help with our Necron situation." Before then, or yes, I should say, are any of your travels taking you possibly around Mindsync C Primus?
In fact, that was the next place we were planning to go. We've been told that Governor Nurselv may have information for us.
Fortuitous, then. The Emperor shines upon this information. Though from what I hear, Tata is a shrewd personage. If you intend to accost her directly, I'd recommend you either bring your direct authority or be cautious. Regardless, when you reach C Primus, travel to the 10th level. There is a bar there hidden in the southwest corner of the mine sink. It's not a well-visited one and isn't marked by any signage. However, the barkeep is an old friend. Tell him I sent you, and ask for our third party.
Noted, sir.
Any further questions will likely be answered by said third party when you reach it. But if you still have them, feel free to reach out to me.
Oh, I can't wait to meet this third party then.
He then narrows eyes at you a bit, Barris, and hopefully they'll be the only face you'll be running into while in C Primus, yes?
I'll keep my head down.
That will be wise. Have you anything else?
My lord, you mentioned the true nature of one of our number.
Indeed. If you've encountered Adari raiders, well, then I suppose secrecy is not longer abound. There is a reason Inquisitor Domina did not properly understand the nature of your task force. It is because I lied to you. Inquisitor Domina has never had a psyker named Lara Talone in her roster. She is not on loan from a Task Force Domina. Her true nature can be one who discloses to you herself. I'm not her keeper, after all. However, I remind you again that I am your ranking Inquisitor, and any agent, acolyte, or force that I deem fit to use for the prosecution of my mission, I will do so. Whether that force be an Imperial Space Marine, Sister of Battle, a know-nothing ganger from a back-hive planet, or anything else.
Very well. I trust his wisdom flows through you.
That trust will get you far, brother. But distrust will be your greatest weapon.
We both know you've already bought my trust.
But I would ask to perhaps cash in a bit of that favor for what comes next. Yes?
Very well. However, while I do not share the faith that these two have, I do still like to know who exactly I am working with, for the sake of trust.
Then I'll make it very clear. You are working with High Inquisitor Malcolm Brimrose III, third of his line, and dedicated of his most holy Ordo Xenos. I have prosecuted my mission for the past 60 years. I have done things, seen things, mortal minds would break in the face of. And through it all, I have learned one simple thing. The Emperor provides many wondrous tools in the pursuit of his justice. Not everyone can be found in Imperial hands.
Understood, sir.
If there is no more, I will leave you all to it.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Just saluting.
He offers a slow nod and just says, "Keep your wits about, acolytes. Things will become complicated from here, I feel. Somehow, even with the reveal of a Necron tomb world beneath this planet, I fear we know only the barest bits of what is truly occurring here. And whatever it must be, I fear it is cataclysmic." The call will slowly fade out. And, as a reminder before we head off for the evening, I believe it was Barris who rolled an investigation roll for us, yes?
Yes.
Can you tell me how many icons you rolled?
I rolled 5 icons.
In which case, I will say the following. You are parsing through memories of the last day, Barris, trying to get your hands on anything that could have gone on, how everything's going in your head. And I feel like the thing you find yourself falling on finally is just as you all were moving towards your rock grinder, you bumped into somebody. Wasn't anything serious. No one you recognize. Simple, faceless, excuse me and keep it moving. You would swear you saw a strange tattoo on their neck. You know gang markings from everywhere. In fact, you've pretty sure you saw a gang marking or two on him. But that one symbol, that one right above the collar, you've never seen that before. A coiling, twisting serpent, devouring itself. And with that, I will ominously call tonight's session to a Turk-breaking close.
Oh no.
I thank you all for attending tonight's episode of By His Shadowed Peace. I said I was going to reveal a bit more than I planned on revealing today, but I think I sure did that. Y'all roll real well. It's fine. I will not hold us up too much longer. Instead, I'll simply allow my cast to tell you who they are, who they played tonight, where they can be found on the internet, and what cool things they have coming up next in a few brief sentences, and then we'll get ourselves going on for the day. Anyway, that I call you out, friends, please tell us those things, and then we'll move on. Starting directly beneath me, I don't know where she is on the overlay, I don't know what the overlay looks like, with the incredible and incomparable Michelle.
Oh, all right, cool. It's me. Hi, I'm Michelle. I played Aria, our sister of battle today, who it just did medical stuff, but that's literally her job. So hey, and she did it well. You know, she's just not great at being aware of things, but she's really good at fixing people.
You did do that.
Or you know, breaking apart dead bodies. That also counts, right?
Same deal.
Same difference. I'm right. Oh, I do not exist on the internet, so don't go looking for me there. Except you can find me here tomorrow, for our A Bladesville flashback episode, where you'll see this GM over here. It's either up, down, sideways. I don't know.
I'm somewhere. Who knows?
It's somewhere. And yeah, we're doing a flashback of Team 6, so stick around for that tomorrow if you are interested in seeing the original Team 6 of the A Bladesville cast. Passing it on to the next person.
We'll hand it, swing it right on over to our recently broken but now recovering Turk Accented.
Hi. I'm fine. I'm fine. Anyway, I'm really tempted to say like a lot of things to see if I can trigger a response, like Hydra Dominatus or like something like that. But I will be strong, snaking its own tail, not me diving into all of the chapter iconography and or some freaking Khitan. Anyway, hi, I'm Turk or Turk Accented. If you're also freaking out just a little bit, just on the inside, nothing coming out of you. It's no reason your skin's just real sweaty. It's just because you didn't turn the AC on. That's why. Oh, it's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. How are you? But I, of course, was playing Zadkiel Delos, your Lamenter, who is big sad, but also big angry at secrets and Xenos and witches, but also gets along with them sometimes and has promised not to hurt the witch any more than needs be. But would like to know more. Inquiring minds want to know. I know I at least have a quorum in the voting group. Anyway, actually not true because, Inquisitor lores. Anyway, if you want to see more of me...
Inquisitor counts for 5 votes.
Inquisitor does count for 5 votes amongst our group before. So, if you want to see more of me and the stuff I do... Gross. But you can, of course, follow me on Twitch, Twitter. I recently got a Blue Sky, which is pretty cool. Haven't really posted much there. I intend to. I want to try and actually, social media-wise some cool stuff. But my next big project is going to be Cthulhu Week over on Lost Caravan RPG, which is going to run from the 13th to the 20th. I'm tired already, but it should be a lot of fun. We will be playing Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green throughout the entire week. I'll be GMing or keeping a majority, at least 4 of those sessions, and in 5. So, if you like my face, I have great news. I will be there as much as you need me to be. I will be very tired though, but it should be a lot of fun. It also will be doing giveaways and also fundraising for a good cause. The name always blank. I believe it's Nami. But it's a we'll be raising for a charity that raises awareness and gives support towards those suffering from mental illness, and of course that is very relevant to what we'll be doing throughout the week. So if you like, it's a $10 donation to enter, and we have a bunch of really cool giveaways, including stuff given by Chaosium, Arc Dream Publishing, and some really cool artists in our community and dice makers. I mean, people have been very generous, and even if you just stop in to say hi and throw $10 in the pot, it'd be greatly appreciated. Beyond that, on 21st, I'll be right back here. Oathsworn, it's happening. I have sworn it unto my soul. If it doesn't...
And the oaths.
I'll be so sad. Yeah, the oaths will be warmed. They have been kept at a room temp, and now must be brought up to a boiling hot pitch as we finish our final chapter there. Yeah, that's entirely too much out of me. This has been great, as usual. Oh my gosh. I feel like every single... I feel like, I'm like, okay, now we'll just do a regular fact-fighting episode. I'm like, nope, get another hammer dropped on my freaking head. This is so good.
Big cute head.
Everyone you see... Thank you. Everyone you see on your screen here is so incredibly talented and makes this work so easily. I am just so glad y'all tolerate my brick of a character walking along beside you all. So support the people you see on your screen here. Take care of yourself, or else I'll fight you. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
With that, we will swing it over to the incredible and incomparable Meg Mysteria.
Hello, everybody. I'm Meg or Meg Mysteria. I got to play Lara Talon tonight. Again, that may or may not be her real name. We'll learn it next time, I suppose. After I get questioned by this space marine who was just forced to promise not to kill me.
I mean, Aria made no promises, but
Aria made no promises, so I am therefore afraid for my life. But as far as where you can find me coming up, next time we'll be right here back on Neon Lights Roleplay for our next installment of Last Transmission on the 17th. I believe I'm hijacking Turk from Call of Cthulhu Week for that. If I'm not, and he's hosting Delta Green, we're gonna have some words. Because he didn't tell me.
17th?
See, we're making him check the schedule, but to continue right along.
We're about to have live conflict.
We'll chat. We'll chat.
After that, on the 20th, I'll be over on Singularity Roleplay for our next installment of Breaking Neon, where we're investigating. There's mysteries abound here.
Yo, we love a good mystery.
Mysteries abound. And then, well, after that, I think that pretty much rounds out my month. And then we'll come back around for Camp Runners Cross next month, Last Transmission, Breaking Neon, all the usual good stuff.
Well, I look forward to having more Meg on my screen in the future, frankly. Thank you very much. And if you don't look forward to that, then you're wrong, and you should fix that. Suppose that last leaves us off with the stoic, and I was going to say silent, but like not really silent. It's Dan. We're back to Dan. Hey, Dan.
Hey, I talk more than I would like to, honestly. I wish I was silent. It would be a lot easier.
Haha, I made you be social, asshole.
I have to be the leader.
Get fucked.
But yo, I'm Dan. I'll be honest, I heard Snake devouring itself, and my mind went to a completely separate game series. But that's neither here nor there. You can find me on Twitter, no Blue Sky yet, but I'm at Land the Dan. I use it sometimes. I honestly don't know if I could handle Blue Sky and Twitter at the same time. But and then if you want to see more of me for some reason, I'll be back here on Monday for The World Within You. It is our Jet Set Radio Persona various heavily stylized games inspired Void Heart Symphony campaign run by Legendary Vermin. And then 2 weeks after that, I'll presumably I'll be back here for the next part of Neon Afterglow, the sequel campaign to the very first campaign that we ever did here, Neon Night City Lights, featuring the return of the one and only Joe Hate Club, who got fucked up last episode.
Oh, they're fine. They're fine.
Mostly thanks to me, but yeah.
It's your job.
But yeah, that's me. Yeah. And then I guess not too long after that, I'll be back here, and then the cycle repeats itself.
And repeats itself. Any
yeah,
case,
like a snake eating its tail, it just never ends.
It's almost like how I'm doing that. You see how I made it. And friends, I'm Foxy, aka Young Foxy. I'm fucking my own thing up. I'm Young Foxy, also known as Big Foxy, aka your favorite Fox Philly's finest. I can be found everywhere on the internet at Young Foxy, YUNGFOXXII. If you can't find it, sometimes there's an underscore in between. So if you can't find one, look for the other. You'll see me all kinds of cool places on the internet, mostly here on the Alliance Roleplay. Mostly you'll see me tomorrow, right back here for the Ablazeable flashback episode, as mentioned with Michelle. You'll see me next Wednesday for Stardust Ghosts again. Next Thursday, Flash Transmission. And swinging around repeatedly as things go on. I'm in Neon Afterglow. I'm in With the Will, which has its finale in exactly 2 weeks from today, which is going to be incredible. Yeah, this has been a great fucking time. I love this game. I love the cast that delivers it to me, and I cannot wait to bring more of it together. So, before I let us go for the evening, I will, of course, last end off with, as I always love to, a cute little one of those ending scenes, as we like to call them. Let me see if I can't do that real quick. Give me a second. So, we allow ourselves to pass through a scene. Long, stone halls, ancient and dust-covered. A crypt locked away, shielded from time, wherein a single figure sits, green light glowing from his metal chest. And thus it would appear that gears continue to turn. And as they grow ever closer to what remains, will they find themselves sacrificing a planet or sacrificing themselves? What remains hidden behind the truth? What lies wait to bite in the shadows? And will our acolytes create a story worth sharing in the end? Hydra Dominatus, Gloria in Excelsis, Terra. Good night,
Yeah.
everybody. We'll see you all in, I guess, in a few weeks.
Take
Okay,
it
bye.
filled with rage.